I also sang pop songs sometimes in I don't say in the middle of the street, but in commercial centers with the hat in the floor just for the coin. I mean, I think every musician who is successful today can tell you stories about the beginning, like singing in a bar, or I mean, Bocelli, for example, he was a piano bar guy, and he was singing in the piano bar. I mean, it's part of growing, and it's great. It's a great thing that connects you to the real thing. That not everything is to be a star, you know.
Before you sang this song, you said at a concert that it's continuing to break the rules. Do you like to break the rules?
I have been a rule breaker since the very beginning, but you know, the good news is that to break the rules, first you have to achieve them. You cannot break this glass if you don't have it in your hand. So to break the rules, first you need to master the rules. And then you have the right to break them or not. And that's something I usually say to young people. We were showing before the master classes in Cardiff. And I used to say this to young people, guys, it's good to break the rules, because only by breaking the rules, humanity in general has done steps towards the front. You break the rules, you see, okay, this works, this doesn't, so here we step back to the rules, here we continue this line. And in that way, we have created all the things we have today by daring, okay? But one thing that we don't have to forget is that to break something, first you need to have it, to master it, to control it. And then you say, now that I know how to use it, I decide not to use it. Otherwise, breaking the rules is a very funny way of saying, I am not able to do them, so I will make everybody think that I don't like them, when the truth is you can't.
And is it possible to break in the rules even in opera or in classical music? Because it seems sometimes that classical music or opera is mostly about rules.
Okay, you see, we have 20 minutes for this interview, but you're making me questions that are existential. We can talk
I know.
We can talk for hours. But yes, okay, classic art, for the mere thing of the name, the classic, it's established on a set of things that you have to do, otherwise you're doing something else. But there's a lot of margin of maneuver there. And it's thanks to that margin of maneuver that we went from Bach to Mozart, from Mozart to Beethoven, from Beethoven to Rachmaninoff, and so on, so on. I'm just quoting 2 or 3. Because if not, we would still be in the times of Bach, which is great, because for me it was the greatest genius of all times. But we would be missing a lot of other things. So I think that daring, experimenting is part of the humankind, and when we don't do that, we just stop in time. We just need to be smart enough and humble enough when the experiment doesn't work to step back and say, listen, I tried, it didn't work, let's keep on going. And not just, I tried, it didn't work, but I will insist on it, you know.
Your first visit in the Czech Republic was in 2003, as I mentioned. Since then, you've been here many, many times. Is there some special connection between you and our country?
In the sense of human connection, yes, a lot, because I know people here for 20 years, as you said, so people that I mean, when we saw the picture you showed before, I was all dark, there was not a single white hair, and was the same for half of the orchestra, which now is there in front of me in these concerts. It's the same guys, and we know each other since 20 years, and now half of them are bald, the other one has a belly like me, or have grandkids, or, I mean, it's normal, it's life, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. This is a great business in that sense, when you come again and again to the same place, as it happens to me in Vienna or in Hungary, in those places where you have a recurrent visit every 2 or 3 years, that you establish a familiar connection with the people. Of course, if you have that kind of energy, because some people don't like this because of other factors. But if you can establish that connection, it's an amazing thing to see people say, oh, how's your wife, how's your kid? Oh, my kid, now, you know, I have grandkids, oh my God. You know? I mean, it's amazing. That's all about doing music. It's about the human interaction. It's about the human factor. When you kill the human factor, that's why the streaming and all that is great, just to cope with the moment where we don't have nothing. But the streaming cannot be an alternative forever. We need the human factor. We need to go to stage. We need to buy tickets and see the performers directly and see the fear, the nerves, the joy of being on stage, exposed, naked, not literally naked, but spiritually naked. There in front, here I am, I'm a human being, I'm going to try to do my best for you to have pleasure.